So I'm filming outside because I'm sick. I'm having a rough day, but I want to film this anyway because I want to give you guys some background for my last video. This is basically a part 2, but it's really the beginning is what it is. So for my last video, the shed we lived in and how I got there, let me start there. But first off, my name is Katie, and I'm an addict in long-term recovery. I got clean in January of 2018, and from there, my husband of 4 years at that time, he didn't want to get clean. He did not. He ended up dying later that year, and we had a home together at that time that we owned. We owned a home and property and lots of things, lots of normal things. We accomplished those even though we were using. I'm not really sure how, but we did. And soon after his death, I maintained my recovery and my sobriety, and I couldn't do it without him. You know, what we had required both of us to be able to accomplish. So I lost everything. I lost my home. I lost all of his things. I lost all the property. And then everything happened quickly. I had nowhere to go, and I had been trying to save our home for so long. I had nothing left to rebuild from. So I made my dad help me build a shed in the woods so I could live and be with my animals and take care of my animals, because that was my husband's deal. I didn't want farm animals. My husband did, and I promised him when he died that I would take care of all of his affairs, and it included all of his livestock. So I did that, and I wasn't at I call the shed the mini house. It just sounds more proper, guys. Anyway, so when I lived there, I was only there a couple of months, and by that time it had been over a year since my husband passed, and I was getting to a point where I thought I was ready to move on with my personal and romantic life. I had moved along enough in my recovery and moved along far enough past my husband's death and mourning his loss that I felt like I was ready for that. So I did that, and we immediately got pregnant. Super shocker. Was not expected. I wasn't planning on having children at all. You know, I was a drug addict. I was a drug addict. I had no intentions of building a life beyond what may or may not sustain me, myself, and that's it. So we got pregnant, and I just felt something I never felt. So I decided to have my daughter, and it became a financial burden. I worked all the way through my pregnancy. I didn't stop. I kept a job, and I do physical labor, and the only time I did not work while I was pregnant is 2 weeks before my daughter was born. I was so big and round I couldn't anymore, so I couldn't work anymore to make any money. So what my boyfriend had coming in, it could only provide for what we needed right then and there. It couldn't build us past that. So after my daughter was born, it took me a couple of months to get back to work full time. And here's where this is gonna go really weird. It's gonna seem like this is a fairy tale and I'm making it up, or that doesn't happen to people normally. And you're right, it doesn't happen to people normally. This is very atypical. This is just my story, and it actually happened like this. Basically, I was painting. I was painting a house at this time. I'm painting it, and you know, the owner lives in California. That's all well and good. They're paying us from across the country to paint the inside of this house so they can come back and visit it or whatever, because they're filthy rich millionaires, you know, and they just have it like that. So I'm thinking everything's gonna be great, and you know, we finished the job up, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna fly into Virginia, and we're gonna come see the job and pay you. So we wait for them to get there. They get there. The husband met me, thought, wow, there's a woman doing this kind of work and doing it really well. The neatest work in the house is hers. And then the wife that came in, she I don't know, man. She had some kind of connection with me immediately. I'd never met this woman before in my life, and immediately she wanted to know who I am deep down inside, and who I want to be, and what I want to be, and how did I come to be the person I am today. She saw some kind of potential in me that I did not know existed, let alone that I was putting off for other people to see. She saw that, and she was like, you know what? Let me keep this in the back of my mind. And she did. And a couple of months later, she had her husband open the development on that property that they were getting ready to develop. It's a multi-million-dollar development now. She had him open that up and coordinate with me on how to be, I like to call it the CEO or the project foreman. It's just easier to explain my position here. But I make bank. I get to do what I need to do. I get to develop the skills I want to develop. I get to have time with my daughter. That was what a lot of it was designed for. It was designed at my discretion so I could participate in my daughter's life and build my own and build our future. These people basically came out of nowhere like some kind of magical savior and turned my life around. I worked dead-end jobs with career experience. I have career experience. I have college education. I've worked dead-end bullshit jobs. And that's all I've done. And then this opportunity came along that I deserved all along. And I felt like I hadn't earned yet. Not in that way. I hadn't directly worked towards that. I worked all my life and felt like I worked my way out of that kind of situation, but not yet. And they just felt like I deserved a lot better. So this is not a typical story. Within 60 days of getting this new job and starting my new pay, I went from being in debt and homeless to, but I bought myself brand new furniture in a new rental property. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm sitting outside right now. This is fantastic. I'm in a great neighborhood. I afforded all this on my own. I didn't actually have any help, which is unfortunate. It wasn't supposed to be that way, but regardless, I did do this on my own. And not only that, I carried myself, my daughter, my boyfriend, and his son. I carried all their asses through this shit. So it can be done, and you can do it with everybody holding you back. And good luck to everybody out there. I have faith in you guys, because if I could come this far with all of that holding me down, you can too. I realize no fantastic miracle is going to fly in from California and save you, but if you put in the work long enough, somebody's going to notice you, and they're going to want to help you get to your full potential. So until then, keep coming back, guys, because it works if you live it.